Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live here this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And I'll just wait, make sure you're getting... Oh, here we go. Yep. You can hear me, Wendy, loud and clear? Good. Okay. Who else is up here? Bettel. How are you? Nativity, good morning. I'm getting the thumbs up. Andrea, Niagara Falls. Here we go. Francis Marie, good morning to you. Lori, good morning. Jen, Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. John from Elgin, Illinois. Joe, Duncan, BC. Right, Joe? Kevin, Oshawa. And our Wendy is from Markham. Ida. Good morning, Ida. Nellie. Bill, how are you? Zian and Jean. Good morning to you guys. Mary Jane, Connecticut, right? Mary Jane? Sandra from Aurelia. Marilyn from Edmonton, good morning. Diane, Jeanette from our staff, Frida. Fran from Orangeville. You guys are all my friends, you know that, eh? Anne, how are you? Another friend, St. Catharines. Anne, good morning. Moncton, British Columbia. Sue, from the Manitoulin Islands. Beautiful. Colette, Debbie, Nouveau Brunswick. Mary Jane says, yeah, I got it right, Connecticut. Diney, how are you? Maggie. And Wanda, Virginia. Donna, Bell Valley. Catherine, good morning. Brenda, Campbell River, British Columbia. BC's well represented. From Ottawa, Marlow, how are you? Ezrat, how are you? Yolande, bonjour. Diane, Sunny LaSalle. Rose, how are you? Bev, Deanna, good morning. Cleveland, good morning. Erna, we appreciate you guys more than you can know. Diney is from Alberta. Bill, and from Hampton, New Brunswick. Maria, Brenda, Lynn, New Brunswick. Vanda is from PEI. Beautiful. Elizabeth, good morning. Couple more and we'll get going. Couple more and we'll get going. Catherine's from Newfoundland. Alma, good morning. Luella, thank you for coming on. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Mary and Michelle from Tennessee. Good morning, Michelle. Brenda, Lori, Cambridge. Sue, good morning. Lori. And Helen. Okay. Wendy, London, Ontario. Rita, good morning, good morning, good morning. You guys, Warminster, Wanda Terry, good morning. And you guys are unreal. Have I told you lately that I love you? Okay, this morning, 2 stories on the thyroid that I want to talk about. One of them, just saw it this weekend. People that took tetracycline, you know what that is? It's an antibiotic. Often was given out for acne in their youth. Tetracycline, very popular form of antibiotics. And what they're showing in this study is that people who took that, millions and millions, often develop a thyroid problem later on in life. And the overarching principle is this, and you know, you guys have heard this so many times from me, is that antibiotics are the greatest discovery of the 20th century and have become the curse of the 21st. And from leaky gut, the number one cause of leaky gut, the number one, I mean, there's other causes, of course, of leaky gut, But antibiotics I put first. One of the things that we're seeing, and I believe that this is why it happens to the thyroid, by the way. When you take an antibiotic, you've got, let's say your doctor suggested, and you know, who enjoys acne? You know, teenager. And some of them get severe acne. And who enjoys that? Now, you know, there's hormones involved, but they already have leaky gut. If you got acne as a kid, you already got leaky gut. It's not because you make too much bacteria, more than, you know, there's hormones involved, and ladies, young ladies, estrogen dominance, not enough progesterone. In men, you know, it's leaky gut. It starts in the gut. Leaky gut, leaky skin. You take an antibiotic and your acne clears up, but you have created a monster. And I'll tell you why. Because when you wipe out your microbiome, 5 days, that's all it takes. You wipe out your microbiome, the good guys, you get what we call an invasion of a third army. You'll never hear it in medicine. Even though I read an article this weekend, another article on fungus and how fungal infections are probably one of the most dangerous infections that they're now seeing in hospitals. And medicine isn't good with fungus. They're not good at it. And the reason is because it's the thinking. It's always bacteria or viruses. Medicine is hooked on bacteria and viruses, and the proof in the pudding is the way we handled the virus that affected the world. Virus, gotta stop it, get it to zero, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, because medicine idea, forget the immune system, they don't even talk about that. The unintended consequences of antibiotics are well established. Now, please, don't think for a minute that I am against antibiotics. I am not. I am a promoter of antibiotics. If you need an antibiotic, then by all means take an antibiotic. If you got a raging infection, my word. Please don't accuse me of that. I'm not against antibiotics. I'm against the overuse of antibiotics. And I want to educate people on the long-term consequences. Antibiotics kill good guys. That's the problem. They kill bad guys, but they kill the good guys. It's friendly fire. It's the number one cause of leaky gut. And then you get an invasion. If you don't have enough good guys, you get an invasion in the body. It's called Candida albicans, or yeast, or fungus. And it's very, very hardy. It's hard to get rid of. It can penetrate everywhere in the body. It will travel in the bloodstream without symptoms necessarily. It will travel via the vagus nerve into the brain. And when you look at MS, when you look at Parkinson's, what do they see? that you never hear about. It should be common knowledge. What do they see? Fungus. When they get, ALS, Lou Gehrig's, and other sclerotic diseases, I'm telling you, underlying that is yeast. Yeast, it's a fungus. It's leaky gut. And tetracycline, which I know a lot of people that were given that medication. And, the problem is that if doctors use antibiotics with probiotics, and listen, antibiotics are meant to be temporary. And here's another thing about antibiotics. I've taught you this in the past. It's hard for people to understand this, but I've been saying it for, it seems like a century. Take an antibiotic for symptoms. You got a burning bladder infection, take an antibiotic. I got no problem with that. But don't take it, they'll tell you what, take it for, I got a 7-day dose or whatever. Stop the antibiotic when the pain stops. They're showing that. Studies have shown that. I know, you got to finish the antibiotic or the infection will come back. Guys, that was fake news brought to you by the pharmaceutical companies. It really wasn't true. Use an antibiotic. I know people, dentists. Oh, well, we don't want to have an infection, so take an antibiotic before you come and see me. No, take a probiotic. What your dentist doesn't know won't hurt them. You know what I mean? And it won't hurt you. But seriously, because what happens in 5 days is you wipe out everything. Good, bad. And then ugly comes in. Ugly is yeast. And people don't realize they have fungus. Unless it shows up on the skin, they don't even know it. And remember, yeast is a cousin to mold. It loves moisture. It loves your lungs. It loves your sinuses. It loves, ladies, the urinary tract. Men can get it too, but women, you talk to a woman who's had a yeast infection because of their anatomy. I still believe in women being women and men being men. I know, I'm old-fashioned. I'm going to double down on that. Okay? No, but seriously, guys, this is stuff that, I didn't make up. They're showing that thyroid is being affected. They're not telling you why, though. But I'm telling you why. Because yeast will affect the function of your thyroid. And your thyroid, guys, it's the gas pedal. It's your metabolism. And kids that were on antibiotics, I brought this story years ago, were much more susceptible to obesity. You change the microbiome. And bacteria in your brain, bacteria in your lungs, bacteria in your sinuses, bacteria in your skin talk to the bacteria in your gut. They communicate to each other. Unbelievable. The more they study bacteria, the more they study the microbiome, it ought to fascinate all of us. But medicine oftentimes is ignorant of it. They don't look at long-term consequences. You need an antibiotic. I just can't understand in this day and age, I really can't, how any doctor and pharmacist, when you pick up a prescription or they write out a prescription for you, how they don't say, you need a probiotic. Remember, you're taking an antibiotic. By the way, if you're taking painkillers and all this and that, those kill your friendly bacteria too. You know, people live on Tylenol and Advil and non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. You know, I talked to a lady yesterday that you know, no fault of her own, lives on prednisone, lives on it. Better be taking probiotics. That stuff kills your friendly bacteria. The more and more we study it, the more and more we learn. And your thyroid, never mind your gut, because I'll tell you, when I used to take case histories, I'm a history buff in all facets. I love world history and I love your history. Because it was clues. Tell me about your past. When you were a kid, lots of antibiotics? I used to ask that question. Yeah, come to think of it. Yeah. Well, now it's coming, I used to tell them, now it's coming back to bite you. What? Well, you got major digestive issues. Yes. I can point back to your childhood, and now you've got a major, not only leaky gut, but you have a major fungal yeast, candida, infection in your gut. What do you think, guys? What do you think SIBO is? Much more common than we think. And you guys know this. We've renamed it. We call it SIFO at the Martin Clinic. Small intestine fungal overgrowth. I know medicine says it's bacterial, and there is bacteria there, but that's not the problem in my opinion. It's the fungus that's the problem. Small intestine fungal overgrowth. And it can create havoc. Because in the small intestine, you can get digestive issues and bloating and cramping, and you don't feel good. Your gut don't feel good. Your gut is angry. Your gut is angry. You got to kill that yeast, man. You got to kill that fungus in there. And that's why the treatment for SIBO, which it's called in medicine. And you know what? I hate to tell you this. Most doctors don't even know what that is because they haven't studied it. But it's not really SIBO. It's ladies, I use the example of you guys because I talk about when you get a bladder infection. Hey, it's not really bacteria, okay? What? Well, yeah, there's bacteria there. An E. coli might be sitting in the bladder. There's no doubt about that. But especially if it's reoccurring, it is yeast that lines the bladder wall and the urethras and those little connections, and you're full of yeast in there. And then you get a bladder infection. Yeah, but it's yeast underlying it. Now, I've told you this story, but it bears repeating about cancer and fungus And that, there are doctors who preached that every cancer was a fungal infection. Fungal infection. Yeah. I remember talking to a guy. Well, I was in the green room. You know what a green room is? A green room is when you're to go on a television show. I used to do a lot of that stuff, okay? When I wrote books, I had an agent. And, I went around the world, really, okay? And, I had my own radio show, but I often did radio and TV interviews. And I remember sitting in the green room and I was going on a program and talking about chronic fatigue syndrome. I'll never forget it. And there was a pathologist, oncologist in there, a Dr. Simoninci. I think I pronounced that right. I could hardly understand him, but he was going on after me. I was being interviewed first. He was second. But it was interesting. I was listening to him. I asked him a few questions about his background and who he is and why he was on the program. And he said, well, something I'll never forget. He said, all cancers, in an Italian accent, are fungal based. I mean, that just about blew me away, folks. We're talking, was it in the early 90s? Late 80s? What? Yep. He said, when I do pathology, when I do biopsies, and I put that thing under a microscope, those cancer cells, fungal. Whoosh. That, my friend, should have turned medicine on its head. They called him a quack. I've been called that a few times. More than a few. But again, the double-edged sword of antibiotics. And by the way, he said that too. I'd already said it with chronic fatigue. I said, that's interesting. I'm here on chronic fatigue, and I did 500 patients. We did their research. We did their history. Whatever. You know what the common denominator was? Antibiotics as kids. Tetracycline being one of them. And these people were now exhausted. I mean, this was the late 80s. And he said, yeah, antibiotics, cancer, down the road, if you don't fix it. And this is why, remember, yeast flourishes when you feed it. Where do you think the expression, don't feed the bears, comes from? Okay? Where do you think that comes from? I don't want you to feed yeast. Yeast, like cancer, wants fuel. It thrives on sugar. It hates yeast. Listen to me. Hates steak. Hates it. Yeast hates steak because it can't live on it. It needs sugar. It needs rapid fire. It needs rapid fuel. So when you insist, or people insist, on eating, sugar, especially when you drink it. Oh! In nanoseconds, you're feeding yeast. Yeast goes, well, thank you very much. And now I'm going to grow. It's an invasive species. I call it the Third Army. And yeast takes no prisoners, my friend, except you. Chronic sinusitis, loves the lungs, in asthma, in COPD, in non-smokers, loves the brain, loves to get at the neurological system, loves the skin. You see something on skin, just about invariably, just think fungus. Eczema, psoriasis. And it's an underlying condition on people that get that recurring cellulitis. That's a big problem today. Cellulitis. I mean, in the 70s, cellulitis? It's not like I never saw it or never heard of it. It was so rare. I mean, what? Cellulitis? Today, people get recurring cellulitis and then they give them more and more and more antibiotics. And I understand why they give it an antibiotic. You don't want cellulitis. You can become sepsis with it. It can get into your bloodstream and kill you. But the reason it's so hardy, there's an underlying fungal condition. And it's one of the biggest problems when we use so many antibiotics. And I brought you this study, survey really, maybe a few weeks ago. As a matter of fact, it just came out as a podcast. Doctors didn't get the memo. Go listen to that podcast. They're not getting the memo because they're prescribing antibiotics when they shouldn't. Antibiotics should be saved for when you really need it. Now we're getting all these super bugs, super bacteria. But what we don't talk about is super yeast. Because I'm telling you, once that gets thriving in a person's body, and today, because we feed it, we're consuming about 200 stinking pounds of sugar a year, and people don't even realize it because they don't know how to read labels. They think they're drinking good stuff, and I'm having a smoothie. It ain't Dr. Martin's perfect smoothie. It's all sugar. Well, look at guys, that's a big, big issue today. And the article was saying, and it affects your thyroid. Down the road, the thyroid, you know what the thyroid does? A lot of times it's autoimmune. Any autoimmune, like Hashimoto's, Graves', whether the thyroid is going this way or it's going that way downwards and sluggish. Most of the time it's hypothyroid. The thyroid is your gas pedal. Now your gas pedal doesn't go to the floor. You don't have the energy. Your metabolism slows down. When your metabolism slows down, you look at food and you gain weight. Remember, there's lots of things attached to that thyroid, lots of strings attached to it. And the thyroid, people are walking around, they're lethargic. They don't feel good. And the doctor, your thyroid numbers are pretty good. I mean, they're within normal limits. Yeah, but normal in a thyroid numbers are from here to eternity. I mean, you have no idea. And that's why I've always been a symptom guy. Give me your symptoms. Oh, your hair's falling out? I used to look, I'm a visual guy, right? So I look, and women would come into my office, and they must have think, what is he staring at? I'm looking at your eyebrows. I'm looking at your hair. I'm looking at your skin. Observation. Today, you know, when you get your doctor over Skype, oh. No, seriously. You know, we're having a problem in Ontario here where doctors, you know, they're used to, you know, the restrictions. And so, I don't know if I want to go back to practice. I can talk to you over the phone, or I can, you know, let's FaceTime. Hey, it's not the same, my friend. I'm an observation guy. I used to tell women, some men, but mostly women, I tell them, even out without doing testing. I mean, the test would come after. And I go, you got a thyroid problem. I do? My doctor says I don't. Yeah, you do. How you feeling? Not so good. Gaining weight? Yeah. How's your energy? Not good. I'm tired. I'm tired, doc, of being tired. You know how many times I heard that? And then I'd go in their history a lot of times, and I found out, yeah, when they were kids, they were on antibiotics. And that's coming back to bite them. And they, you know, digestive issues and, you know, sluggish everything. Ladies, your hair is your glory. Not normal for a woman to lose hair, okay? And when that happens, it's hormones, 100%, always. And there's reasons for it, and one of them is fungal. It attacks the thyroid. How many women, even listening to me this morning, know exactly what I'm talking about? And how many women who are listening to me this morning have had any kind of history of, you know, thyroid polyps or, you know, enlarged thyroid? And, you know, I feel, you know, like I got like a lump in my throat. Yeah. Inflammation. Why? Fungal. And the thyroid stops working properly. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just doesn't work at the level it should work at. We used to have a term that I used in the office all the time. I haven't used it in a while, called subclinical. What's that mean? Well, you know, the blood test don't pick it up. The routine blood tests don't pick it up. That's why you never in my history of practice would ever do any kind of blood test without history. If people just, you know, give me history, man. How you feeling? I need information. Then, you know, information, past, present, plus blood work. Now it makes sense in a lot of ways. And I always told my staff, you ask Jeanette, you ask Nicole, anybody, Brandy, that ever worked with me, what did I used to tell them all the time in the office? I used to say it all the time. Symptoms trump the lab. The lab's good. The lab is good. Symptoms trump the lab. And when medicine got hooked on lab results, in the absence of taking history of symptoms, they made a big mistake. Doctors need to listen. Linda. Listen to patients because they have inside information. Observe patients because you can see a lot if you're looking in the right places. It will give you all these clues. I used to palpate when patients come in. I used to palpate the thyroid. One lady, some people were very funny, you know. One lady said to me, "You're in my space," because I was feeling her thyroid and taking her glasses off because I wanted to look at her eyebrows, and she said, "You're in my space." I said, "You're in my space. You're in my office. Sorry, this is my space. You come to see me, I'm going to be all over you, okay?" You're in my space. She didn't like anybody coming close to her. I can imagine what she was like through the virus. Jeepers creepers. But you see, it was my office. I said, too bad, so sad. It's the way it is in this place. I'm getting up close. I'm going to look you right in the eyeballs. Okay? Oh, I'd love to train practitioners today to get back and be good doctors. Get back to the old-fashioned, hey, let's hear your history, man. There's something you're telling me here that makes a lot of sense to the reason why you feel like you are today. Anywho, isn't that an interesting study on the thyroid? Tetracycline comes back to haunt the thyroid later on. Yeah, it takes years for yeast. It takes years for yeast to spread its tentacles and latch on to your organs. And ladies, you be very careful with breast tissue. Very careful. Okay. Did you have fun? I certainly did. So we got a good week. Should have lots of fun. And are you a member of the private Facebook group? Please join us there, our community there. And tell everyone about the Doctor Is In podcast. Okay? You know about the Facebook if you're watching this, but you can re-listen to this on a podcast. The Doctor Is In. You can download it on your smartphone. The Doctor Is In podcast. Okay? Thank you for making it so popular. We appreciate it. Okay, guys. We love you dearly. We'll talk to you soon.